So, hello, as you see, I am sitting in the car. How unusual might that be? Oh, I have no idea. No, it's not unusual. I am at this charger, which is Gateshead International Stadium. I stopped off here because I'd been to two Tesco's and all of their chargers were full, so I couldn't get a charge, even if I wanted one. I didn't need much of a charge. I only needed a little bit just to top back up. So I thought I'd come along here and see if this one was working yet. Because I've been a number of times and the CCS just refuses to start in any way. You know, it will go through all the process and you'll hear little clicks and ticks inside the machine, but it just doesn't start the charge off. So I'm on the little AC, and so therefore I had some time to kill. I went along to McDonald's, and there's a separate video on that, and that's when I got the deluxe veggie burger, and not so deluxe. But what I want to bring up is I've got piles of people keep walking past and they keep distracting me. What I want to bring up is that fast chargers, the 50 kilowatts or faster, versus the 7 kilowatts. And if you're doing a long distance and if you're going a long way, you definitely need those, don't you? Do you? Do you definitely need to have 50s? Now, let's take it. I have done a 960-mile, 2-week school holiday trip up to Scotland and back again. And during that time, I didn't plan, but it just seems like what happened was that I didn't go on to 50s all that often. And at the times when I did use 50s, there was a reason why I used the 50. And I could have got away with a 7. So let me think now. I went on the first day. I got diverted because there was roadwork, so I ended up having to come a different way. So therefore I ended up in Stonehaven. Now Stonehaven is top part, near Glasgow, heading that way. And I stopped off at a couple of Tesco's beforehand and did tiny little hour type charges while I was looking around the shops there. And after leaving this one, I ended up on a diversion, and the diversion didn't seem to be very well signposted, and I ended up paralleling the motorway all the way from, well, you could say from Moffat all the way up. I did the whole of that, and I got to Stonehaven, and I had been to Stonehaven before, so knew where the chargers were, but at the time I only knew where 50 kilowatt chargers were there. And when I got there was a charger free, because there's like 3 or 4 chargers. So I got on quite easy because there was a number of chargers. If there was only the one, I wouldn't have got on. But because there was 4, I was able to get on. And I only had a 20 odd minute charge required to get me back to the 94, because the big chargers only go up to 94. So I'm going, okay, well, we'll have that. We'll do just a quick walk around the park, then we'll just continue on. So that was my first charge. My second one, now, I even have the book right beside it, so I don't know why I'm trying to remember these things. But it is trying to remember which one was a 50 and which one was just 7. Because there was a lot of 7s. Because I would just put in a tiny bit every now and then, keeping it topped up to around 100 and odd miles. So that was a 7. So it is what I thought was right. It was. The next time I wanted a charge, it was a miserable rainy day, but it wasn't when I left the caravan. It was fine. And then the clouds came in and it became rainy, and it was a Sunday. So I was going to do some exercise and walk around, but then it started drizzling and looking like miserable, as it does. So I went to Johnston and I managed to get on to one of the 3 50 kilowatt chargers they have dotted. So you like got one here, one here, one here. I got on at the police station, which is the council office near enough. And so I went on that. And that I didn't want very much anyway, so but I put some in there. And all the rest. So although I have a full page here, these are all the charges that I did. And all but 3 were the 50. All the rest were all 7s. So where do I find another 7? No, Brarehead was a 7. Johnston. Might have been Johnston again. No, that wouldn't be it. It was when I was coming back home, and I stopped off at a new charger that I hadn't been to before, and wasn't sure precisely where the hell it was. So I went on to the 7s because I came across them first, then walked around and then found the 50, which was down the side of the same building that the 7s were, but no signs, and it was hidden behind a big wood, like, bin yard with gates. So it was hidden behind that, so from where I was, I couldn't see it. So I just sort of found it and I said, oh well, I'll stick it on that and charge up to get full, which was another 20 minutes. Nothing really. So the 3 charges that I did at 50 were all usually pretty short, 20-25 minutes, and that was it. The 7s, of course, were much longer. Some could have been 2 hours long, but because of the location that I was at, I was on the charger and charging at a slower speed. I didn't care. It didn't hold me up from what I was doing. So with that, do you really need 50s? You need 50s if where you are going is there's nothing there. So like going to a car park and all it is just one shop or no shops, then you really could do with just a 50. If you're going to a park and it's only a small park, then really a 50 would be better, because there's no way you're going to spend hours walking around a tiny little park. And there is a tiny little park. It's up beside Hamilton. There's a tiny little lake, Bolton Lake, with car park around, and it only takes like 25 minutes to walk around the whole thing. So, and there's no path to anywhere else after there. So that's, you know, but 7s are fine if you're going to a place, you know, like a big supermarket type thing, you know, with all the shops in, and then it's not so bad. Or you're going to a place and it's got loads of shops and you're parked in the car park just outside. I dislike having to pay for parking and then possibly having to pay for charging, because if you're only there to charge, that's a little unfair, because you don't go into a petrol station and connect onto the petrol pump and then say, well, you're going to be here for 5 minutes while you fill the tank, we're charging you for parking. How many people would go in an uproar if that happened? It really would. Well, I haven't seen as many of the little numpties who drive petrol cars parking on the EV chargers, but we still see a lot of EV chargers that are just not working. They're in quite a state, you know. Either you can't read the number plate, you know, you can't read any part of it, that it's the cables are out, the screen's broken or not displaying anything, yet the charger might still work. If you know the routine of which buttons to press in what order, then you can still get it to charge. So if you take it like these ABB ones which are behind, it's top corner here, followed by confirm, which would be this corner here, So therefore you can start a charge off if you know the order where you touch the buttons, because you'll have to pick which one you want. So on these ones, the top one is CCS, the one across is CHAdeMO, and the one below is AC. So the first option that you get is that. So we've got loads of kids coming out of the thing. So with that, do you really need big fast chargers? Not necessarily. If you're on a holiday, then you want to stop and have a look at places. If you charge a little at a time and keep yourself charged up, people are so used to filling a petrol car and driving it down till it hits the red and then filling it back up again. With that thought and that idea used on an EV, it doesn't work as well, because it is so easy not to have a charger that works. And then all that happens is that you see people who are EV drivers get immensely pissed off with a charger and start swearing at it and go bloody electric vehicles. It's all wrong. It's because they're not clever enough to charge beforehand and charge often, a little at a time, which takes up seconds. Then to charge full, that could take hours. But with that, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.